Good Sunday afternoon. It's October 12th, and today it's going to be a little bit different, the words that I have for you. But I want you to listen very carefully because it's all intermingled. I'm titling this segment hashtag love, hashtag Christianity, hashtag think before you vote. The word love appears a different number of times in the Bible, depending on the translation, ranging anywhere from about 310 times in the King James Version to over 600 times in newer translations like the New Living Translation. The variation is due to differences in translation, with more modern English versions using the word love more frequently than the older, more literal King James Version. Now, one of the things I want you to quickly note is that the definitions and the query included translation, not interpretation. And believe me, there is a difference. To interpret something, you need to make sure that you are getting the message across as the originator wanted you to do so. It's okay to use different words, but the message needs to remain the same. Now, I bring that up because we hear so many politicians and other folks talking about love, but then they don't demonstrate it according to the Bible. Now, you've heard me also say in the past that to be a Christian, you must follow the tenets of Christ. If you are not even attempting to follow the tenets of Christ, how can you call yourself a Christian? Now, I know that who call ourselves Christians may not be as pure in heart as Christ would like us to be. But if you call yourself Christian, shouldn't you at least be trying to follow what Christ has said? In John chapter 13, verse 34, Christ was concise but quite clear when he said, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, but that you also love one another." Now that's being pretty concise. One another, he doesn't mention any specific person. He's telling us that we need to love our neighbor. Who is our neighbor? The person next door, the person across the street, the person on another continent, a person around the world that we haven't met yet. Those are all our neighbors. So we need to be trying at least to follow that commandment and love one another, not being vindictive to people that we don't even know. You don't even know their stories. You don't want to know their stories. Not if you're not Christian, but if you claim to be Christian and you meet that person, or you haven't met that person, shouldn't you be extending the love of Jesus Christ, who laid down his life for each and every person on this earth then, before, and after his crucifixion? If we're not doing that, how can we call ourselves a Christian? How can we persecute people that we don't know anything about just because they're in this country from another land? Why did they come here in the first place? For a better life. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to expound on that any further than to say that they came here to the United States of America for a better life. You want to know what that life was like, where they came from? Sit down with one of them. Have a cup of coffee. Share a glass of juice. And say, why did you come here? What was it like? What did you expect here? Those are questions that, hey, even as a citizen, we're asked when we apply for a job. When you go for an interview at a job, what do they ask you? Well, why do you want to work here? What do you hope to come from working here, from just being here? What do you hope to accomplish? And what do you have to offer? So why not ask these same questions to folks who come here to this country looking perhaps for a different and better way of life? You know, I couldn't wait to start to vote. And I started at age 18. And what was funny, in the state of New York at that time, at the age of 18, you could vote, but you couldn't drink until you were 21. A lot of states changed to where the drinking age later on became 18, but now a lot of states have gone back to where you can't obtain liquor until you're 21. So age can make a difference. But coming to Christ, I've known folks who came to Christ as young as 5 years old. They gained an understanding greater than some folks who are now my age at 81. But here's the whole thing. I'm going back to the beginning. The word love, how many times do you use it? How many times when you say it, do you really mean it? We hear people say as they are leaving the presence of other people, love you. Others will say, love you more. But here's the question. When you say love you, what are you really saying? And do you really mean it? When you say love you more, how can you love someone more than they love you? Well, Christ showed us how. He went, as we might think today, out of his way to show his love for us. He went into places where he literally wasn't wanted and spoke love, the love of God. God showed his love and shows his love to us each and every day. So, if we're going to call ourselves Christian, we need to act like Christians. In order to act like a Christian, you must be willing and you must at least attempt to follow the tenets of Christ. The greatest of which is, as he stated in John chapter 13, verse 34, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. If a person who calls themselves Christian is not even trying to do that. And they're calling themselves a Christian. If they're not trying even to follow that tenet of Christ, is that the person that you really want in a position of leadership? Personally, I would rather have someone who does not profess to be Christian to be in a position of leadership. Certainly not a follower of Satan, but a person who says, no, I'm not Christian, but I also don't follow the other guy. I'd rather have that person in that position of leadership than someone who is misusing my Savior's name and using it only for political or monetary gain. And I'm going to stop right there today. And I do want you to know that God does love you, and so do I. Have a blessed day and a blessed rest of your week.